Something's happening in the Netherlands. This is a clash between Dutch citizens and Muslim rioters at a Christian festival, with police having to intervene. And that religious clash is increasing throughout the nation, with Muslims becoming more and more hostile to the symbols of European Christian civilization. These are recent scenes from, if you can believe it, Amsterdam University, in a clash between Muslim migrants and Dutch students. And there are signs that Muslim leaders inside the Netherlands are becoming more brazen.
Dit is Nederland inderdaad, het land waar de moslim de baas is. Snap je? En niet de Nederlander. En als je dat niet bevalt, dan ga je maar je land uit. En dan ga je maar naar Duitsland of zo. Snap je? Hier zijn wij de baas, de moslims.
We are the boss now. Muslim men are in charge, not the Dutch. And if you don't like it, then get out. So how are the Dutch responding? You are not going to believe this. Is going to absolutely blow you away. Hey gang, it's me, Dr. Steve, your Patriot Professor, helping you make sense of the madness with breaking news and analysis you're not going to get anywhere else. So you know what to do. Make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. Muslims currently constitute approximately 6 to 7% of the Dutch population, or roughly 1 million people, making Islam the second largest religion in the Netherlands after Christianity. The majority trace their origins to Morocco and Turkey, with substantial communities from Indonesia, Somalia, Syria, Afghanistan, and Iraq. Demographers project that under continued migration rates, the Muslim population could reach upwards of 20% of the Dutch population by 2050. The fundamental question that these projections are raising is whether Islam is compatible with Dutch and European values. Now, the key Islamic doctrine in question is called Hakimiyya, meaning sovereignty or divine governance. It holds that God alone, Allah, is the ultimate sovereign over all human affairs, political, legal, social, and that no human ruler, legislature, or court may enact laws that contradict divine command. Sayyid Qutb, the Egyptian Muslim Brotherhood ideologue, argued that contemporary Muslim majority societies living under man-made law had reverted to pre-Islamic ignorance, making resistance, including violent jihad, religiously obligatory. The classical Islamic concept is known more broadly as Sharia, the divine law that serves as the supreme legal authority over civil government, superseding any man-made legislation. Enter Geert Wilders, the leader of the Dutch Freedom Party. Wilders has been a passionate advocate for the Dutch government to crack down on the growing influence of Islam in the Netherlands, arguing that Islamism is completely and totally incompatible with Christian and European values. Wilders has been campaigning on closing the Netherlands' borders to asylum seekers from Islamic countries, dismantling foreign-funded mosques, and locking up or deporting violent individuals and religious extremists. And to the shock of liberal globalists around the world, the Dutch overwhelmingly agreed. On the night of November 22nd, 2023, the political establishment of Western Europe received a thunderclap it simply did not see coming. Geert Wilders walked out of the rubble of every elite prediction and won the largest block of votes in the Dutch parliament. His Party for Freedom, the PVV, surged from 17 seats to 37 seats in a single night, obliterating the centrist parties that had governed for a generation and leaving the continent's political class speechless. Now, keep in mind, this was the man that they had put on trial for hate speech back in 2016. The man foreign governments had banned from entry. The man whose security detail had shadowed him around the clock for 20 years after the murder of his friend Pim Fortuyn and the assassination of filmmaker Theo van Gogh. They had prosecuted him, mocked him, excluded him, and the Dutch people handed him the keys to the parliament overwhelmingly. The liberal media called it a catastrophe. Brussels went pale. And across the European right, from Warsaw to Rome to Stockholm, A single realization rippled like a shockwave. If it could happen in the Netherlands, tolerant, progressive, bicycle riding, tulip growing Netherlands, it could happen anywhere. Wilders had not merely won an election. He had detonated a signal flare visible across the entire Western world, illuminating a rage that the establishment had spent years pretending didn't exist. We are indeed witnessing a historic turning point as President Trump leads a righteous crusade to finally liberate the world from the terrorist state of Iran. A much more sinister war is being waged right here on our own soil. While our commander-in-chief moves with decisive strength to demolish the Iranian war machine, obliterating their military hubs like Karg Island to protect global freedom, he's being systematically undermined by the enemies within. These anti-Trump shadow state radicals are desperate. They see the president winning, so they're manufacturing a domestic crisis to try and break the spirit of the American patriot. They want the dollar in flames and your life savings frozen in the crossfire of their manufactured economic blackout. Their goal is to force you into a state of financial submission where the shadow treasury controls every penny you own. The question is, will you wait until the bank holidays start, or will you launch your family finance defense today? You must act now to move your savings into a territory these radicals cannot touch, and that is cryptocurrency. And you can build your financial fortress right now by using Block Trust IRA. I'm a proud client of Block Trust, and I've seen their amazing Animus AI platform work firsthand. Their 24/7 Animus AI has consistently outperformed Bitcoin by over 250% since 2020 by navigating the exact volatility these saboteurs are trying to create. While the world panics, Block Trust IRA's $200 million institutional-grade insurance shield defends your wealth, ensuring your life's work remains out of reach from the shadow state. Now, to help your launch your defense, Block Trust IRA is authorizing a $2,500 family finance defense bonus to be added to your new crypto IRA the moment you sign up, to use right away. Head on over to turleytalkscrypto.com right now and schedule a confidential discussion with their crypto AI experts. Share this link with every patriot you know. It's time for a collective family finance defense. Act now to defend your family and your future. That's turleytalkscrypto.com to safeguard your family's prosperity today. Now, while Wilders' tenure as leader in the Dutch parliament was turbulent and limited, through his influence, he managed to get the more extreme Islamic political organization, the Muslim Brotherhood, banned from the Netherlands. But most importantly, he inspired populist leaders throughout the entire continent. There's a word that keeps surfacing in the political science literature, a word that's really reshaping how scholars understand the populist revolts convulsing the Western world. And that word is civilizational. Not merely nationalist, not merely economic, civilizational. Now, Samuel Huntington, the great Harvard professor, warned decades ago that the fault lines of the 21st century would not be drawn between nations or ideologies, but rather between civilizations. And the deepest human loyalties, he argued, are not to flags or constitutions, but to the shared language, faith, memory, and moral imagination of a people across time. Civilization is the largest unit of human identity, and when it's threatened, something primal awakens. And that awakening is precisely what we're witnessing across Europe today. Because what the Brussels elite never anticipated, what the NGO class and the open borders consensus never modeled, is that millions of ordinary Europeans would eventually look at their transformed cities, their silenced churches, their policed speech, and their daughters afraid to walk alone at night, and conclude that something sacred was being deliberately dismantled. And they would be right. The globalist project required a specific ingredient to function: cheap compliant imported labor, an endless reservoir of workers who would accept wages that no native European would tolerate, maximizing the profit margins of multinationals whose lobbying dollars then funded the very politicians keeping the borders open. It's a closed loop of corruption dressed up as compassion. And when ordinary citizens dared to name it, dared to say this is not diversity, this is displacement, they were immediately branded racist, xenophobic, far-right extremists, Nazis. The slurs came like clockwork, from Keir Starmer's Britain to the editorial boards of every legacy newspaper on the continent. But here's what the elites fatally miscalculated. That slander only accelerated the revolt. Because when a man is called a racist for wanting his daughter to be safe, he doesn't become more liberal. He becomes more determined. And when a woman is told her concern for her neighborhood is bigotry, she doesn't go quiet. She goes to the ballot box. And so a remarkable thing is happening. Something the secular consensus declared impossible literally just a generation ago. Christianity is returning to the public square of Europe, not as nostalgia, not as a museum piece, but as a political force, as the civilizational grammar through which a growing number of Europeans are articulating their resistance. Geert Wilders in the Netherlands, Jimmie Åkesson in Sweden, Giorgia Meloni in Italy, Marine Le Pen in France, Viktor Orban in Hungary, who's made Christian democracy not a slogan, but a governing philosophy. Karol Nawrocki in Poland, carrying forward a tradition that never forgot what it cost to defend Western civilization against foreign conquest. These leaders are not simply anti-immigration politicians. They are making a deeper argument that Europe's freedoms, its rule of law, its protection of women, its freedom of conscience, its democratic self-governance did not emerge from a vacuum. They were built on a specific civilizational foundation, and that foundation has a name. Italy has shown what resolve looks like in practice. Public space is governed by national law, cultural symbols protected, women shielded from legal systems that do not recognize their dignity, civic unity treated not as an aspiration, but as a non-negotiable condition of residence. The message radiating outward from Rome in particular is not one of hatred, it's one of clarity. For Americans, this is not a distant drama, it's a preview. The same debates over assimilation and public expression and civilizational coherence and the weaponization of elite institutions against ordinary citizens, they're already here, already live, already urgent. What Europe is teaching us in real time is that civilizations are not self-sustaining. They require defenders who are willing to be called names, who are willing to endure the slander, and who are willing to hold the line regardless. History does not reward the hesitant. It rewards those who understood the moment and acted. One of the easiest ways to support this channel is through the Turley Talks store. Great merch, great values. Click the link below and shop today.